Hello friends, and welcome again to the Marvels of Water. We're working with hydrotherapy in this series, and we're on remedy number 7. Hopefully you've made it through all these other, all the previous 6 hydrotherapy remedies. If not, you certainly can go back and watch those. This one that we're going to be looking at today is the SITZ bath. Well, let's look at what the SITZ bath can be used for. We see here, right here, just a picture of what a SITZ bath can look like, okay? So these are some of the indications, some of the uses for a SITZ bath. We have some incredible uses for a SITZ bath. Well, for men and women, we see here it can be used for vaginal conditions, things like ovaritis, salpingitis. Well, for those that don't know what that is, salpingitis, that is some inflammation of the fallopian tubes. And of course, you may think, how would you know that you had that? You certainly might be checking with your medical professional and you would find these things out. Also for prostatitis, man, there's some inflammation of the prostate, or for prostatic hypertrophy. That is, there again, some enlargement of the prostate. Also pelvic pain, bladder conditions. Also, it's been reported that you can, for someone that might have trouble, a child with bedwetting, you can use a cold SITZ bath in times like these. Okay, times that it would not be the best is if someone is challenged with high blood pressure. So we can do these as a cold SITZ bath or a hot SITZ bath or as a contrast SITZ bath. So if someone has high blood pressure, then we would not want to do the cold SITZ bath, because you remember when cold water is applied, then we have, what is it? You remember? Come on, vasoconstriction. So if someone is challenged with high blood pressure, we don't want to constrict the blood vessels, all right? So that's a contraindication, a cold SITZ bath for someone who is having challenges with high blood pressure. Also, there again, don't give a cold SITZ bath for someone who is already chilled. But today we're going to be looking at either the hot SITZ bath or the contrast. All right, so as I mentioned, we can do a hot SITZ bath, we can do a cold SITZ bath, or we can do a contrast SITZ bath. If you want to know more about the contrast SITZ bath or the contrast hydrotherapy remedy, we want you to refer back to the contrast baths video, all right? So now with actually in most homes, it may be a little bit more challenging even to do the contrast SITZ bath, because you would have to have, as you can see this graphic on the screen here, you actually would need to switch your posterior from the hot bath over into the cold bath. Remember, 3 minutes in the hot and 30 seconds in the cold. You would have to do that back and forth, and that may be a little bit more challenging in bathtubs in some homes. And let me tell you, I've tried it in the bathtub in my home, and it is very challenging. You have to find 2 basins that can sit down in the bathtub, and then you have to almost be a gymnast to go back and forth. You can make it work, but I think it would be easier to either do the hot SITZ bath or the cold SITZ bath. Now you see here in the image that the person is in 2 basins. Well, the easiest way to do this in your home, in your bathtub, is to simply fill your bathtub with a little hot water, all right? And then you would need a separate basin for your feet. And notice that you can use the same basin that was used for the hot foot bath. So this may look strange, but you're going to be sitting in your bathtub, but you're going to have a basin with water in it in the bathtub already. So you're going to be in water in your bathtub, and then you're going to have a basin of water in your bathtub, and your feet are going to be in that. Just like you see that man there in that graphic, instead of him sitting in the tub, his posterior would actually be in the water from his bathtub. And the reason for that is is because the foot bath can help to draw some of the inflammation from the pelvic area. Now, having the knees out of the water will help to focus the concentration on the pelvic area, but having the feet in the hot foot bath will help to balance some of that circulation. Now, this may sound a little complicated, but the water in the hot foot bath will actually be warmer than the water that you will be sitting in. So let me go over this once again, just to simplify and to clarify. You're going to fill your tub with water, some nice hot water that you will sit in. Then you want to place some hot water that is hotter than the water you're sitting in your bathtub that you will place your feet in. You will be in this for anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, at which time when you finish this, you will drain the tub and you will cool yourself down either with a cold mitten friction or with a light shower. And there again, this can be corrective for many of these indications that I've already mentioned to you. If you want to do something simpler, you can do, or something that's quicker, you can do cold water SITZ bath instead of a hot water SITZ bath. With a cold water SITZ bath, you would only have to be in the cold water from anywhere up, usually about 5 to 10 minutes. There again, you would sit in your bathtub in cold water, but you would still have your feet in hot water. There again, cold water SITZ bath, 5 to 10 minutes. Again, that's contraindicated for someone who's already chilled or for someone who has high blood pressure. Let me tell you, this SITZ bath brings wonderful benefits for someone who is plagued with one of these conditions that we already discussed. I hope that you will try this, friends. I hope that you at least practice on someone. It might have to be a spouse or a child of something like that, but please practice today or sometime soon so that you can become proficient in all these hydrotherapy remedies. Thank you so very much.